This video is sponsored by Virtual Gladiators. Virtual Gladiators has everything you need to make the next big Minecraft or Hytale server. Use code HyCast for 20% off on your next purchase. Hello everyone, welcome to the HyCast, the premier Hytale podcast. My name is Loki, and today we are joined by ThirtyVirus. 30, welcome to the show.
Hello.
It's great to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's good being here too. I've been awaiting this for the couple months now.
Oh, really? Wow, same here. All right, so to get things started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and your channel and what you do?
Well, my YouTube story goes back about a decade, 10 years. I'm not going to be too detailed on that, obviously. Since the beginning, I did Minecraft. Not much has changed in that way, I guess. Started out YouTube as a way to archive things I found funny or cool.
Yeah.
Suddenly gained an audience and was like, hey, I guess I'll make content for these guys. Started doing Let's Plays and...
I mean, your stuff's pretty entertaining, man. Like, I haven't had time to like watch all of your stuff, but I've been seeing like a lot of your Bed Wars gameplay while you have commentary, and like I said, man, that is some mesmerizing gameplay in the background. It's hard to look away.
Yeah, the current state of my channel started about 2 years ago when I was introduced to Bed Wars. Before then, I was all Let's Plays, you know, like survival, modded, and all that. When Bed Wars started, that's when I sort of adopted that commentary style that is so iconic. In my videos now, it's like every other video at this point.
Right.
Yeah, it's I just kept playing Bed Wars and getting better, and then eventually, I guess people like to hear what I had to say about, like, I guess, controversial topics and some not so controversial topics. And then about half a year ago, Hytale came out, and that's really when things started to blow up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm a Hytale commentary channel, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah. And, I'm assuming a lot of people have got some big plans for Hytale.
Oh yeah. I think I know a good amount of them. I recently did like a list with everybody on it that I knew, and there's so many people that have plans for this game.
Yeah, I watched that video. That was pretty good, man. Not lie. I felt like you were pretty fair with everybody, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a couple that I felt kind of bad, like Venom actually showed up in the comments, and I was like, oh no. But he seems to agree with what I said, so who knows? Maybe I might have had an impact, you know? People are taking a look at themselves and they're like, hey, time to change things up.
All right.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, let's see. At this point, it's been about 6 months since the release of the Hytale trailer. Do you think this time is helping or hurting the pre-release community? And should they have waited this long or postponed their launch trailer a little bit longer?
Well, the thing about the community, right, is that I don't think Hytale's goal is to harbor the pre-release community. I think their ideology is that if the game is good, people will come back. Right. So they're kind of leaving us in the dark, which, you know, is not the greatest. I mean, there's every now and then a tweet or some meme.
Little trickle of information, yeah.
The slow drip, even slower than before.
Yeah.
I think their number one is definitely just getting the game ready. And as much as it sucks for people like us, you know, their priority is avoiding backlash from the biased general public. Because, you know, the pre-release community is not the greatest way to see how everybody will react, because I would say we're more biased towards Hypixel. We're going to be very sympathetic and forgiving. And
I agree.
People that have nothing to do with Hypixel or Hytale and they're just popping in, they're going to be very critical of the game. And I think they're afraid of that backlash.
So you think maybe they've taken a step back because of the success of the trailer and they're just kind of reevaluating how they should proceed, maybe, or something?
I think they were going to release the game. I think if things went the way they expected, like 200,000 views in the launch trailer, it would have been out by now.
I agree. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Because of people that I think because of the explosion in popularity, first off, I can't help but feel slightly responsible with the at least 15 suggestions videos I've made.
Yeah, I have seen one or two of those.
So there's a lot of people that had stuff to say about the game, and I think Hytale took it to heart, and they're trying to make their game the best it can be. And there is a balance, though. We don't want a cube world situation where the developers just disappear off the face of the earth, and then for 6 years we don't get an update.
Oh man, I forgot about Cube World. Yeah, I remember that. They did just disappear, didn't they?
Yeah, and the idea is that, oh, they didn't release updates because they didn't feel it's ready yet, and there's still like thousands
Mhm.
of people waiting for it like all this time later.
Right, right.
But yeah, I
Uh,
just think Hytale's not really concerned about us as the
just making the
pre-release
best game.
community.
Yeah.
They're worried about making the game good. They know we'll come back. They're not like, you know, they're not ready to give us content yet. That's their
Right.
stance, I think, right now.
And I mean, it might be for the best. All right.
Yeah.
Hytale recently took a step back in blog posts. Do you think they should continue with the blog posts or focus entirely on developing the game and adding new features?
I think that there should be no harm in letting someone that might be from the outside take a look at what they're doing and then just throw together a blog post. Because, I mean, of course, with their approval, don't want to
Right.
just randomly leak things. But
Yeah.
I don't think it takes that much effort to make a blog, considering their blogs are very substantial compared to the Blockshot blogs, which is what I write. Every
Yeah.
week I do one of those, and it takes me about an hour. And I would say a Hytale blog has about 2 or 3 times the amount of content. So
Mhm.
at max 2 to 3 hours, you know.
I agree. I mean, I do feel like they would probably have enough time to give us a little more than they are currently,
Yeah, going
but
6 weeks without a blog at this point, it's not about
yeah.
the amount of time to make a blog. I don't really know what they're doing. Maybe they are doing this on purpose so that the hype, dies down so they have less pressure.
Yeah, because they definitely have things they could show us. I know there's a lot more. I mean, they can avoid the big things, but they've got, tons and tons of lore they could share with
Oh,
us
yeah.
and other things. Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah, so I think this is a very calculated thing. Sure, they can make blogs, but I think they're refusing to just so that people calm down.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. If you gain access to the Hytale beta, what kind of content do you plan on making? Let's plays, guides, live streams, and how will it affect your channel in the future?
Well, my thing is that I'm a developer
Right.
primarily. So I would do a lot of work on the Blockshot network, but
Hmm.
I would also be a tutorial type guy. So I would make a tutorial for how the model maker works, how to import from other platforms,
Hmm.
how to make mods. So I would like to capitalize on the tutorial market. I'd like to be the guy that has a tutorial on everything, even in game mechanics too, like how to find the first blueprint, things like that. So that's
Gotcha.
going to be hopefully because what people know me in the Minecraft community mostly for is I'm the guy that invented. There's this cobblestone generator design that has 1.2 million views at this point, and it's like the
Oh wow.
classic, and like that was my thing. I was the tutorial guy, like OBS recording tutorials, minecart stations.
Hmm.
And even though I had the let's plays, the real views came in from the tutorials. So that's my plan, is that once that like foundation of Hytale tutorials is up, that I would
Right.
have live streams of the mini games on the official servers, live streams of my own thing, Blockshot, probably a let's play. So it's a
So
little bit of everything.
pretty much the go-to guy for all things Hytale. If you have a question about something, go over to 30.
I'm like the nerd that knows too much about the game.
For
That's
sure,
what
for
I'm
sure.
probably gonna end up being.
All right. So it's known that you're an avid Bed Wars player. Will you continue to post Bed Wars content, or will you focus on alternative Hytale projects?
Well, I actually made a video on this. There is a Bed Wars equivalent in Hytale that's planned on
Hmm.
the official servers,
Right.
and if it's not going to be 1 to 1, but if it's close to 1 to 1, I might just transfer to that.
Hmm.
But if there's things I miss from Minecraft Bed Wars, I might come back to it. But in the current state YouTube is in 2019, the environment heavily discourages playing something that is not in the spotlight anymore, as horrible as that is to say.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I agree.
So if I even slightly like high pixel or Hytale Bed Wars, I'm gonna play Hytale Bed Wars because I mean I've been doing this thing for so long, and now I have a full-time job as well.
Right.
And just to put it in perspective, right? I mean, 2 days working 9 to 5 gives me more money than a month of YouTube.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's make it or break it is Hytale for me.
And I feel like they would have a lot of improvements to Bed Wars and Hytale, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, especially if they're transparent with the community. I know that, for example, Noxie and Simon and Oscar and Thomas Frick and like uh, they've all communicated with me and showed up in my comments, and like it's crazy. Like I think that if we had suggestions to make Bed Wars better, they'll listen. So it
Right.
could very well be something that could replace, in my mind at least, Hypixel on Minecraft.
I
But
guess
of
we'll
course, it'll
find
still
out.
be up. But it'll be a
Mhm.
better version in hopefully every way.
Gotcha, gotcha. In the time since the release of the Hytale trailer, many new community projects have evolved. You started your very own passion project, the Blotshot Network. What is this unique creation and what is its aim?
So Blockshot started because of my frustrations with the current state of gaming as of late 2018. And that in particular would be Call of Duty, Halo, Fallout.
Mhm.
All of these franchises have had pretty bad. They've had a couple bad games. I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that anyone would disagree with to say that Fallout 76 was a dumpster fire.
Oh my gosh.
Um, the same thing could be said about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare
Mhm.
and World War II. And
Yeah.
Halo is probably the least offender out of all of them, but I
Yeah.
personally dropped off after Reach.
Oh, same here. Same exact boat.
Yeah. So my idea, right, was to take the best experience from all of these games and to remake them in Hytale. So Run and Gun would be the best version of Call of Duty that ever existed. And it would have more weapons, it would have more maps, it would just be something that's constantly updated and it wouldn't have a 1 year shelf life like a Call of Duty game. Um,
So just to get an understanding, you're kind of like saying basically the golden years for these games where they were beloved by everybody, Halo 3 for multiplayer or, CS:GO, things like that. You want to take the best elements and try to recreate those kind of?
yeah, the best experiences in all these franchises put together. So Run and Gun would
Gotcha.
be the best version of Call of Duty. Probably, I mean,
Mhm.
the aim is to be better than MW2 and Black Ops 1 because I lived through all that and I even have criticisms of those classic games.
Right.
Same goes for example, the Apocalypse game mode is going to be what Fallout 76 should have been, and that's a multiplayer Fallout New Vegas.
That actually sounds really cool.
Yeah. And the workshop mode, Workshop is supposed to
Mhm.
be a 1-to-1 for Halo Forge mode, where you can create your own maps, create your own game modes, and mess around with your friends, that sort of thing.
Right.
And the labs is basically like Hypixel prototype lobby. So not really. And of
Gotcha.
course, the classic Call of Duty Zombies experience, but made better by not having it got too complicated in Black Ops 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Agree.
there's going to be a lot of unique elements as well. So that's the starting point, right? The platform is these other games, but as we build these experiences up, we are going to add our own spin on it. It won't just
Mhm.
be. We don't want to be known as the copy network,
Right, right.
but we're taking the best of these genres. So I mean, I recognize there's other games that are very similar, like CS:GO has some advantages over Call of Duty, and vice versa.
Yeah, they've
So
all got their own unique, aspects of the game that make them what they are.
yeah, so I guess the shortest way to describe Blockshot is the Hytale FPS network.
Gotcha, gotcha. Alright, let's see. It's publicly stated in hang on. Is this the right one? I might be off here. If you want shit. Yeah, okay, no, that's right, that's right. My bad. It's publicly stated that Hytale will provide server creators with all the tools they need to make the next big thing. How does Blockshot plan to implement some of those features to their advantage to help you stand out?
Well, one thing, let me think. That's a complicated question. I think what will make or break Blockshot in terms of these modding tools will be, um, let's see. There's a few things I hope that they'll let us do, like custom UIs would be one thing. Kind of sick of developing inventory menus for Minecraft Spigot. It's
Right.
clunky. I know. I remember Simon complained about that himself in the whole PewDiePie situation. I don't know if you remember that. Um,
Uh, Not
But
sure.
the basic idea is that an inventory menu doesn't look like a menu, so people don't know how to navigate it properly, and then they end up going into Wizards as their first Hypixel game mode instead of Build Battle or Bed Wars. And that's what
Gotcha.
happened when PewDiePie logged in. He said the server sucked and left.
Oh
So,
shit.
on a live stream with millions of people watching. So, considering how frustrated he was, I would imagine there's probably going to be some sort of custom UI that
Hmm.
Blockshot hopes to use. So that's one thing. Another thing would be the custom models, hopefully custom animations. I think a lot of this is confirmed. I remember in the model making post there was talk about clothing and putting specific details on a model that are not like part of it to begin with.
Right.
And we can use that system for attachments.
Hmm.
Uh, so we can. I think since my channel was dedicated to basically theorizing what's possible in the engine of Hytale for like a month and a half, I
Right.
know what's possible and what's not. And everything we have planned for Blockshot is possible. I guess the thing that would make or break the apocalypse mode in particular is being able to use sharding, which allows us to load one big map using a bunch of servers.
Right. Kind of
And
like what was it? Atlas, right? Atlas does that.
I think PlanetSide 2 does that too.
Yeah. Okay. Those two. Yeah. I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. All right.
So sharding would make or break apocalypse mode, I think. There's no confirmation, but I feel like you could probably custom code that. It's not something that the engine will limit you with,
Right.
I don't think. I also had talk with Simon about changing the gravity of the game because I had this cool 3D Bed Wars idea where it'd be
Hmm.
a sphere of islands,
Oh
like
wow.
a 3D space, and like having a Super Mario Galaxy style switching of gravity. He says he doesn't know. Um,
That sounds
so
trippy.
that's not really something with Blockshot, but that's an idea that was a predecessor to Blockshot that I
Gotcha.
was thinking about. So I don't know.
But overall, you feel like the game will be able to accommodate most of what you want to do, if not all of it.
Oh yeah, there's going to be content made for this game that will blow people's minds. Like if you thought relative um, teleportation in Minecraft was something that was mind blowing, I don't know if you've seen the seamless teleporting that allows you to have like experiences where you'll have an infinite hallway or like being able to teleport without noticing you've teleported somewhere is
I
really dope.
have not personally seen that, but I get what you're
It's
saying.
a fun watch. I would recommend looking it up. But if
All
that
right.
blew people's minds, I mean, Hytale, there's going to be things that people haven't imagined before, I would think.
Right. I'm really excited to see everything I got to tell you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'd be
All right.
nuts.
Are there any features that we have yet to see in Hytale that you would like to see in the game, or features that can help your server succeed?
Is the connection all right? I just noticed it's like in the red. Oh, never mind, it's back. Um
No, I
one
think you're good.
feature one feature I really hope for is backwards compatibility for mods. So, for example, if week one someone made a mod and then disappeared from the internet, and then 10 years later somebody wanted to install that mod, I would
Right.
hope it'd work, you know,
Without having to have it, updated and
without having to
changed.
update it. Yeah. Because in Minecraft, there's a lot of things that are being changed constantly. There's deprecated code, there's updates, there's changes to IDs, and it's just a whole big mess. So I'm hoping that I don't know how the hell they would do it, but I hope that there'd be some way to port a plugin to a new version and it would still work properly. Because especially with something like Blockshot, a lot of the coding will be in house. We won't be using generic plugins.
Mhm.
So it would be a huge hassle if an update dropped for the game suddenly and like that was just the thing everybody was playing now and there was, your server would die basically if you don't update right away.
And
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Minecraft player, right? But I think you're talking about how like if you play on Minecraft and you're playing on the current version, an older mod no longer works, right? So either you have to make your game go back to that current version or wait for someone to update the current mod.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
And same goes for plugins as well. There are things like Via version Pixel
Mhm.
uses it. So in the back end, the game is actually running 1.8. And if somebody logs in with 1.14, then well, technically Hypixel's different because they're running 1.8, 1.12. No, they're running 1.8, 1.12, 1.13, and 1.14. So like four instances of the game are running in the background and it picks
Crazy.
which one to play on the client. I don't know how the heck they do it, but anyway, Yeah, so having something more seamless that allows you to have backwards compatibility for mods would be great.
Right.
That's my biggest concern. I guess my second biggest concern would be just a cool feature idea to be able to make your own, like the airships mod in Minecraft, where you build a vehicle out of blocks and then you do some command or right click it with some magical thing, and then it becomes an entity that moves all as one. That would
Yeah, I
be
think
really
I've
cool.
seen that. That was pretty cool.
That's just a. It's not something that's too important, but it's just something that'd be really fun that I'd like to see.
Yeah, I agree. That would be fun. Building your own airships and whatnot.
Yeah, and then of course that could be expanded upon in the future to have like cutscenes where maybe an explosion happened and a chunk of the island fell off of an edge or something, and then like it would turn that chunk of the island into an entity and it drop and have physics applied to it. Like that would be pretty cool.
That does sound pretty neat. All right. How important is it to you that Hytale feels like a living, breathing world, such as NPCs reacting to the world around them and you?
I think since I am the developer nerd person that I am,
Right.
a lot of these things could just be put in by
Mhm.
fans. But I guess for the standard survival experience, that would be a great thing to have.
Right.
I've done I've mentioned this idea so many times in videos to have a living, breathing world.
Yeah.
Having it
It's
so merchants are on their own weekly schedule, having weather patterns, having economical effects to a trade route being plundered or something like that. Things like that would be very neat.
right. I think it just adds so much when a game can kind of capture even like part of the whole living, breathing thing. Like they don't have to have their own full schedules for me, but just, the world reacting to me makes the game so much more enticing.
Yeah, I don't. There's a few things as well. I think the idea of a living, breathing world kind of goes with the idea that there should be, you should have a lot of control as a player, but I think there should be times when the environment just straight up tells you no.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely.
for example, I mean, the value of a stronghold or an abandoned mine shaft in Minecraft, it kind of just becomes a boring mess when you could just dig through the walls and avoid all challenges that way.
I
Um,
agree. I didn't even think about that. I wonder if Hytale has a way to combat just digging straight through
Yeah,
their
actually, since I
pre-built
keep tabs
structures.
on this, Kodiak was doing a interview with Nazi, and it turns out in dungeons that is the case. You can't break through walls, so that's
Oh,
good
that's cool.
for that
That's really
specific instance. But I'm thinking more like I'm gonna call it the parking lot effect. I hope that there's boundaries in place to just being able to flatten the ground, build a
Mhm.
wall, and then just have the same inside of that wall anywhere you make it. So if you're in a desert, you should
Right.
have the challenge of storms blowing sand in. If you're in the snowy area, it should snow and start to like fill up inside of the thing. I don't want the world to be so flexible that you can just create something that's like it looks the same everywhere. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I just think that there should be a bit of a challenge and that it really matters where you decide to set up shop,
Mhm.
like a constant reminder that you're fighting the elements would be
Yeah, you
nice.
don't want the world to be too kind to you.
Yeah, I don't want to just be able to set up a parking lot wherever.
Right, I agree. Alright, what is your favorite aspect of Hytale so far, and how can they make that a success?
Honestly, I think the game is more of an engine than a game. I
Yeah, I
think
can
just
see that.
the fact that people can make stuff with it
Mhm.
to the level that they're showing us is far more valuable than the survival. Because if
Right.
you think about it, they're giving us the tools that they're using to make the survival experience. So
Yeah.
like it's basically a game engine. So like projects like Blockshot could exist. And there's going to be crazy networks that do insane things that you've never like conceived before.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's
they
gonna
won't
be
even have to know a massive amount of code to be able to do it.
crazy to see the things that pop up after a couple months.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
And it's accessible. That's the other thing is
Oh, yeah.
that once you own the game, you have access to all the tools necessary. I mean, you told me just before this interview you saw Deck making the tank in
Yeah, that
Craft
was really
Studio.
cool.
Craft Studio inspired the Hytale model maker, so very similar experience could be had with the free Hytale model maker. So
Right.
somebody that has no knowledge of it, they could just jump in, give it a couple months practice, and then they'll be able to just make professional looking like actual vehicles of war, like just like that, you know.
Something that just popped back in my head. I read back through part of your blog post, and Button Press is the studio that you're kind of creating that will be making the Blockshot network, right?
It's a little bit more complicated than that. Well, not
Okay.
really. So, Button Press is basically a legal entity that owns all the other projects.
Okay.
So, for example, I own Button Press, I own Blockshot.
Mhm.
The only thing that connects them is legal stuff.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so the team was built up through me inviting people to the Blockshot Discord. You know,
Mhm.
so it's a very casual thing. It's basically like you could call it a portfolio. It's like
Okay.
the Twitter account retweets all the stuff that is done for quote button press projects.
Gotcha.
But in
Okay.
the future, yeah, there will be some organically grown groups through button press that work on things like I have a game engine I'm working on as well on the side. But
Gotcha.
but yeah, it's a very casual thing. I wouldn't be concerned about oh I gotta um, listen to what the higher ups say because no, I am the I'm the same
Right. Right.
person in both situations. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. What kind of payment model should Hytale use? Free to play, monthly, one-time payment, and how do you feel about monetization for like skins and things?
I made multiple videos talking about this. My first opinion was that it should be free to play because I was kind of excited about how big Fortnite got, and I was like, "Ooh, Hytale could get that big too." But
Right.
after some time, I realized that because of EA and similar
Yeah.
companies having a free to play with microtransactions system, even if
Not
it's all
very appealing.
cosmetic, it is a bad thing in the minds of players. So I think a Hytale should go with the classic "you buy it, you own it" mentality.
Yeah.
So
I
20
think
to
that's
30 bucks, I would say probably 30. Um, that would be fair. And once you've bought it, then you own it. And then I think their way of getting a continuous stream of revenue after that would be through their official servers.
through the official servers. Can you explain a little bit more on how that could be monetized or?
It might be similar to the way Hypixel is done. So there might be ranks, there might be, for example, MVP which is a monthly subscription for the highest rank on the server that's
Right.
purchasable. I wouldn't be surprised if that was on their official service. Or another idea I thought of that they might do
Mhm.
is if they provide support for example, players buying things through third party servers.
Right.
If they supported this, maybe they would get a cut of that, you know?
That's not a bad idea.
So if Blockshot sells a rank for $7,
Mhm.
maybe the Hypixel devs would get two of those dollars
Yeah,
or
that's a
something like that.
sounds like a pretty successful business model right there.
Yeah, I could see it being abused very easily though, because somebody would just make an online panel where it can't be tracked who buys what.
True.
But that's just an idea. So there's a lot of ways they can monetize it, but I do not think they should do anything even remotely close to what Mojang did after they were acquired by Microsoft.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you were in the Minecraft community when this happened, but back when Notch was on the project for April Fools, he made a store where you could buy
Right.
cosmetics using coins, mine coins.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, 5 years later, after Microsoft acquired it, they did it for real, and it wasn't a joke. And it was called Minecoin, I think.
I think yeah, I've seen that.
So hypocritical
Mm.
that it ended up being that way. So yeah, I think that now that I know what I know and I've seen what I've seen, Hytale should stay as far away from microtransactions as possible, at
Yeah,
least in the base game.
and that I mean, with the model maker, it seems like people would already be able to make their own skins and other things, so
Yeah, and that's the
not
other
sure.
thing is that somebody, if there was a texture pack or a skin pack, there would
Mhm.
be people that are immediately going to rip those skins. They're going to find the files and then they're just going to re-upload it through the model maker and it'll be pointless. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
good chance that just based on that, they might even be forced into just having a one-time payment system.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. Will you be trying your hand at modding in Hytale? And if you see success, do you plan on releasing them to the public? And I'm just assuming here, but you're probably going to be doing that.
Oh yeah, I might be the owner of Blockshot, but I'm a pretty darn good developer, I would think.
Right.
So I at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna be lead dev of Blockshot, and I was like, wait, I'm owner, but
Yeah.
I will be developing a lot for the network, and I think if a platform like Spigot MC does crop up
Mhm.
where you can buy plugins for your server, I will be very active freelance developing on there, making a bunch of quote essential plugins.
Sounds like
So yeah, that's going to be my thing because it does make a lot of money actually. Even now, when Minecraft is in the state it's in, with Java Edition servers being very rare
right.
to other games,
Mhm.
I have a plugin called Ultimate Shops that probably makes about the same as the YouTube channel does. So
Oh wow. Pretty
yeah,
cool.
just selling a single plugin. So I can imagine if something similar came up in Hytale, I'd be all over.
What is it? I saw just recently, it was the Patreon, I think, for the person that makes the shader. What is it called? I cannot remember. It's the realistic lights, right? Ray
Okay.
tracing. There you go. The ray tracing that they just introduced to Minecraft recently. I think he makes like 20 some thousand a month from that by releasing it on his Patreon. It's pretty crazy.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty over
What?
the top. Yeah.
That's
Because
crazy.
from what I could tell, when he released the first one, some YouTubers that were pretty big picked it up and they started showcasing it, and then it just spread
Mm,
around. And from that point, he was able to just, for $10, you can have this, and it's everywhere now.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I think that was the last question I had, man. I think that concludes it for today. I
Yeah.
appreciate you joining us, man. Everybody that's listening, be sure to go give 30Virus some love, show him your support, give him some likes, some follows, and do the same for HyCast, of course.
Yeah. Sub to
Support your
HyCast.
podcast. Yes. But be sure to follow us on all our social medias, Discord, Twitter, etc. And I appreciate you for joining us, man. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, it's been fun.